Hey guys, the FG is Gamer here, and today we're gonna be making a new predictions video. So, as the time of recording, it's 11:55 p.m. It's almost midnight, and it's almost the next day. Disclaimer: by the time this video is posted, it will be tomorrow. So, yes, you guys will be seeing this most probably tomorrow, if that isn't obvious enough. So, yes. This video is gonna be my semifinal predictions. If you guys didn't see, Argentina just beat Switzerland in extra time. I just watched the entire game. Crazy game. Honestly, I thought at one point Switzerland I might beat Argentina, but the way that Switzerland was playing, especially towards the latter minutes, I'm not surprised Argentina got those last two goals and went through because, but we will talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second. But yes, this will be my semifinal prediction video. As you can see, I want this video. Okay, let me restart. As I want this video to be shorter, I'm not gonna react to my quarterfinal predictions, but I will talk a little bit about the games that happen and stuff like that, and then give you a prediction on what I think the result is gonna be. So yeah, the first semifinal game is between France versus Spain, and France beat Morocco 2-0. Let's talk about France first, since they're the first. Let's talk about them first. So, France beat Morocco 2-0. I watched the whole game. I thought France dominated Morocco. I thought Morocco had no chance against France, which I was actually very surprised because I thought before the game, and I think I said it in my predictions video, last video, I said that this game against France and Morocco, I thought it was going to be very close. I thought it was going to be a very close game. I thought Morocco would give it to France. I know Morocco's a very good team. They made it far in the last World Cup. They made it all the way far to the semifinals. They lost to France. The same team that they lost to in this World Cup, they lost in the last World Cup, which is interesting. But yeah, I thought it would be a lot closer. Hold on. Anyways, like I was saying, I thought this game was gonna be really close against France and Morocco, but Morocco honestly kind of disappointed me this game. I thought France dominated them throughout the 90 minutes. Morocco had no chance. France were the ones that was, they were creating everything. They were the one making all the chances, having all the possession. I think it was domination by France. I honestly do. So, yeah, those were my thoughts of the game. If you guys saw my prediction video, I would have said that France was going to win. And, I thought it was going to be a close game, but it wasn't. So I got that prediction right. And then you got Spain versus Belgium. I watched the entire game for this one too. And this game was much closer than the France versus Morocco game. This game is definitely a lot closer than the France versus Morocco game. I was honestly, when Belgium scored that first goal for Spain to concede their first goal, I was honestly kind of surprised. I was honestly surprised that they conceded that goal because Spain haven't conceded it the entire tournament. Their defense has been great. Their defense was good this game. Still, their defense was still solid. The reason why they won. The defense was solid. But yeah, I expected this game. I think I said in my prediction that I expected it to be like close and all that. But I knew that Spain would come out on top, and they did. Moreno, 89th minute winner. I do think the Belgium goalkeeper Lemens should have done better. Lemens should have done a lot better there. Courtois got, he had to go off the pitch with an injury, which was unfortunate. But yeah, Lemens came on, and I heard he was good for United, but that impression that he showed when he came on, it wasn't a good one. It wasn't a good one. So yeah, Spain went through. I don't have much to say about the game because honestly, I thought this game was kind of boring. I thought this game was kind of boring. You know, like Spain had a few chances, Belgium had a few chances, but I don't know. Not too much happened. But Spain got the job done, and that's all that matters to them. So yeah, it's and then let's go to the next game again, and let's go to the next game between Norway and England, which I watched earlier today. Um, this game, this game, honestly, this game got better as time went on. This is the type of game where I can say like as time went on, the game got a lot better and a lot more entertaining. I the first half, to be honest, was boring. The first half was boring. Not much happened. England, in my opinion, were probably the better team. They're the team that, in my opinion, they had the most possession. They were making the most chances, trying to make the most out of it. Um, and then later on, Norway scored that screamer. That was an incredible goal. In my opinion, that's one of that could arguably be the goal of the tournament for me. That was incredible. I don't know if the player meant to cross it or shoot the ball, but that was honestly an incredible goal, bro. It was insane. And I thought then, like, is my prediction really gonna be true? Like, am I gonna go 4 for 4? Is Norway actually gonna go through against England? But sadly, Jude Bellingham comes into the picture and scores 2 goals, bro. I don't really care that England goes through. I just care more that my prediction is right. I wanted to go 4 for 4, but Jude Bellingham ruined that for me, bro. That's why I kind of have beef with Jude, bro. I have beef with him because, like, why are you scoring 2 goals, bro? We get it. You're an incredible midfielder, but you don't have to ruin my prediction like that. But anyways, though, the better team won. England went through. I thought England were the better team, even though Norway were getting some chances. I thought England, for the most part, was the better team. Jude Bellingham, easily man of the match, scored 2 goals. He was incredible in that midfield too. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie though. There was times though during this game where England were convincing though. There was a lot of times during this game where England were convincing. And I was actually thinking at one point, are they actually gonna go out to Norway? Because there was points also where Norway were the better team. Honestly, in my opinion. But thanks to Jude Bellingham, England went through. So yeah. Not convincing really. Not convincing from England, but they got the job done, which is all that matters. And I'm pretty sure that's the same thing that I said about Spain. Not convincing really. I think the only convincing result here was the France versus Morocco. Spain, England, and Argentina, which we're going to talk about in a second, were convincing. They didn't have convincing games, but they got the job done, and that's all that matters. Now, anyways, Argentina versus Sweden, the game that I just got finished watching like 10 minutes ago. What a game this was, bro. What a game. Because Switzerland... No. Argentina scores first from McAllister. At that time, I wasn't watching the game. I came shortly after he scored. A few minutes after, like the 16th minute, I think, 14 minutes, something like that. So, yeah. Honestly, I think for most, if not the entire game, I think Switzerland were the better team. I think Switzerland were the ones who deserved to win way more than Argentina, in my opinion. They were the better team. They were the more calm, composed. I saw Argentina as kind of like reckless, making like just, they weren't, in my opinion, they weren't calm. They weren't calm like Switzerland. They weren't composed like Switzerland, in my opinion. In my opinion, this is probably the first time I've seen Argentina this uncalm before in a game in this World Cup. And honestly, it was crazy, bro. Honestly, because Switzerland were they were playing them out of the park. Like, honestly. Like, they were playing well as a team. And then I think the mistake that Switzerland did after they scored that goal and after Embolo, the midfielder, I'm pretty sure, he went out and after Embolo got sent off, because rightly so, because you saw the challenge. Embolo did dive. At first, I wasn't sure, but then when they looked back at VAR, or actually, no. I knew without VAR that it was a red card or a yellow card, a second yellow. Like, why are you diving like that? Why? What was the need? That was not. It was not necessary at all to fall like that. The guy literally flopped on the ground, and then I was hearing this. I was looking at social media when that happened, and then everybody's saying rigged for Argentina. How are you gonna say that? Embolo did that to himself, bro. He did not have to dive. That was so unnecessary, bro. It was so unnecessary. And yet he did it and he got a red card. And I feel like that's what messed up Switzerland in the end. Because once Embolo got that red card and once they went down to 10 men, they decided to play it safe and go defensive. And I think that messed them up. I think that did. Because Messi also gets fouled outside of the box controversially. I don't think it was a foul. No way that was a foul. No way that was a foul. Messi literally jumped onto him and then fell and flopped. I love Messi, but that was not a foul. That was like, let's be real, that wasn't a foul. The foul didn't the foul didn't really do much for Argentina though, anyways, because they didn't score from the free kick. But anyways, I just had to mention that wasn't a foul. That wasn't a foul. But yeah, the thing with Switzerland and the problem with Switzerland in this game is like once they went to extra time and once they went down to 10 men, they started playing really, really defensive. And they started to play this like low block, basically Haram ball, to try to prevent Argentina. And it did work for like 20 to 30 minutes. But the problem with their low block is that they were giving Argentina too much space. That's the thing. They were respecting Argentina too much. They were respecting their opponent, which is a big no-no. Especially in a World Cup quarterfinal. You can't do that, bro. They respected Argentina too much. That's the thing. They let Argentina pass around them, cross the ball, spam cross multiple times, and pass the ball sideways or pass the ball multiple times. They allowed Argentina too much grace. They gave too much grace to Argentina. They gave Argentina too many chances. And I kept saying during that 20 to 30 minute and extra time, I'm like, if you give any team, especially Argentina, if you give these guys too many chances, if you give Messi too many chances, these guys will make something happen out of nowhere, bro. These guys will score. It doesn't even matter if it's Argentina, France, Ecuador, Mexico. It doesn't matter which team. If you give any team too many chances, if you just allow them to play you around the park, they're eventually going to score. They're eventually going to score a goal or two or three. They're eventually going to score. And that's what happened. Julian Alvarez, what a screamer that he scored. That was the other goal that I was talking about. That was arguably goal of the tournament. Other than the Norway goal. Yo, Alvarez, bro, what a strike, man. What a strike. Curls it, top bids. Keeper, there's no chance of him getting that. There's no chance of getting that. But I'm not going to blame the keeper because there's no shame in conceding that type of goal. That goal was a screamer. That was brilliant. Arguably goal of the tournament. Along with the Norway goal, along with the Cape Verde goal. Arguably goal of the tournament. But it's the players that were the outfield players. It's on them. It's on the outfield players. Because what do you mean you're not trying to cancel this guy out? If you give players like that too much space, especially world-class players like Julian Alvarez, he's going to score. He's going to score. It doesn't matter what angle, what space, what spot. It doesn't matter. If you give players like that too much space, they're going to score. And they're like, and that's how Switzerland got knocked out at the end of the day. As much as I believe that Switzerland were the better team and they did deserve to go through, or actually, no. As much as I feel like Switzerland were the better team, in my opinion, over the 90 minutes, over the extra time, I feel like they were the much better team, the much more composed, the much more calm. Even though I feel like they were the better team, Argentina deserved to go through more than them because they took their chances. And let's be real, Argentina deserves to go to the semifinal because Switzerland allowed them too much grace. Switzerland gave them too much space. And you can't do that against these teams, especially against top national teams like Argentina. Even though they're not playing convincing, these guys are the holding World Cup winners for a reason, bro. So you can't do that. You can't allow them to have too much space, and I feel like that's what killed Switzerland at the end of the day. You gave them too much grace. You allowed them to have too many chances. You allowed them to cross the balls too many times. You gave them so much space to do something with, like. There were times that I was scared for Switzerland because the amount of times Messi got on the ball and shot and it almost went in. Like it was crazy. Almada had a few shots too. I thought Almada was really good. He made a really good impact. You know, like bro, you can't allow teams to have too much space like that, bro. And maybe it's a learning lesson for Switzerland. So yeah, that's my recap about all the quarterfinal games that happened and just my opinion on it. Now let's talk about what you guys are actually here for, which is the semifinal predictions. So France versus Spain. What a close tie this will be. I don't think this will be an insane game, but I do think this will be a very close game. Spain, the best defense of the tournament, Spain, against the best attack of the tournament, France. I think Spain's defense will carry them throughout this game. That's why I don't think the result will be very high. I think it'll be a very close game, mainly because of Spain's defense and how good they've been throughout this tournament. But France, their attack is incredible. Their midfield has been really good, and their defense has been really good too. And I think, in my opinion, it will be France. Because I think France have been in my opinion, they've been the far more convincing team. In my opinion, they've been the best team in the tournament, and I think they will continue being the best team by beating Spain. I already, bro, I already predicted France to be in the final, bro. Like I did. Not at the beginning of the tournament, but ever since, like, the round of 32, and just seeing how France played, bro, round of 32, round of 16, ever since then, I knew France was going to be in the final. I didn't predict it at the beginning because I was like, I was kind of being a follower. I was thinking about what everybody else was thinking and like what they were saying because everybody else was saying like, what about the chemistry? How's that attack gonna work with the chemistry and all that? How are they gonna work? How are the egos gonna work? And I was thinking the same thing too. But I'm not gonna lie. Like honestly, the group stages in the round of 32, the way that France played honestly surprised me. Honestly surprised me a bit because I didn't really expect it that much. So ever since like the round of 32, I always knew France. I always knew in my head that France were gonna make it to the final. So I think they're gonna beat Spain. I think it'll be a very very close game. I'm not good with predictions, so I'm not gonna predict what the score is gonna be. But I will predict that France is gonna win, and I do think it'll be a very close game. Spain will fight, but I think they'll fight way more than Morocco. But I think at the end of the day, I think it'll be France. I think France will be the winners. And then you got England versus Argentina. England versus Argentina. I feel like this game will be more exciting. I think this. I'm kind of like one way or another. There's like no in the middle. I feel like it's either going to be a very close game, or Argentina, or this is going to be a high scoring, exciting game. You know what? Since it's a semifinal, since it's going to be tense, I'm going to believe that this is going to be a close game. And I think Argentina is just about going to go through. I think, I don't think their team has been as convincing as England. I don't think their team on paper is as good as England, but one man and one man only, in my opinion, is going to change this game, and it's Lionel Andres Messi, bro. If you have Messi on your team, I've been saying this for the longest. I've been saying this recently for the past few days. Ever since the Cape Verde game, I've been saying as long as you have this guy Messi on your team, you can do anything. Argentina can go back to back World Cups because of Messi. That's how good Messi is, bro. So I think Argentina will go through. I think England will put a very good fight. I do think it'll be very close. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I don't think Argentina will win by 4, 3, 4, 5 goals. I don't think it'll be crazy. But I think it'll be close, and I think Argentina will go through. Thanks to that guy, Lionel Andres Messi, man. Now, I also forgot to say during this video that I'm also going to be predicting the third place game too. So not only semifinal, but third place game too. So Spain versus England. Who do I think is going to get that third place medal? The logical would be England because as good as Spain been defensively, offensively they're not they haven't been the best this tournament. They haven't been the best this tournament. Orazabal has had moments. Yamal has been decent in my opinion, but he hasn't been anything crazy. Like, to his standards, he hasn't been anything crazy. So Spain's attack, in my opinion, is not as good as England's, which makes me want to pick England. But in my opinion, I think it's Spain. I think it'll be another close game, but I think Spain would get first place because of their defense and how incredible their defense is and how good their defense is. So yeah, I think it'll be Spain. I think Spain will be the third place team, just about. And yeah, that's the end of the video. FG's Gamer YT here. FG's Gamer YT signing out. Bye.